Hi, everybody. Okay, so we looked at code books, and one of the questions that came up was, can we change qualitative or categorical data, such as in our example here, student status or grade or major, can we change that to numerical classification in Excel pretty easily? And there's really two ways to do it. And we'll look at those two ways to do it. The first is to simply just select your data, go to data, sort the data, and let's say we want to work on major right now. Sort the data by major. And we have the majors sorted, and then we could just simply say add a code here. We'll say major code 1. And we just do 1, and then 2, and then 3, and we could just drag that down and so forth. Yeah, well, maybe not all the way down. 4, and then 5. So, pretty straightforward way to do it. Again, hand coding, if you want to do that, that's a way to do it. I would not recommend doing that for larger data sets. This has 100 observations. I probably wouldn't do it for more than that. If it's a handful or up to 100, maybe. If there wasn't too many different classifications or different categories, fine, you could probably do that. But if you have a lot more, or if you want to do it via formulas, we can do that too. So we'll call this major code 2. And so what we're interested in is writing a code, so formula, so that if I put it here and then drag it down, it'll give me these same numbers as right here. So first step is always to know your data. So let's say I'm unfamiliar with this. I can go take the column over here, remove the duplicates, select on major, just this column, and we have 6 unique majors. Again, I could also do it as a pivot table and see what my majors are as well. But we see here. Now let's go ahead and just number them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in our code book, if we didn't want to put in the majors as a string value, we could put them as an integer. We would just need to kind of change it this way. And that's kind of what we talked about in class with changing certain types of categorical data into numerical values so that you can use them in some of your models. So we have our different majors here. So what we're going to do, we know there's 5. What we're going to do is write an if-then statement that has 5 different components. So we're going to do equal to if, so if E2 is equal to, let's say, business, then you can see here this says if value is true. If the value is true, we're going to put the number 1. Again, this value right here, 1. If the value is not true, we're going to again, run through it again, if E2 is equal to, say, IA, then we're going to put 2, and if not, we're going to try again to see if we can find something, find the correct one. If E2 is equal to ISAT, then if the value is true, we're going to put 3. If the value if E2 is equal to math, we're going to put 4, or another if statement in here. E2 is equal to, say, political science. Then we are going to put 5, and 5, and if not, we're just going to put NA. We're going to make sure our parentheses are closed out. And you can see here that we have the value 1. Now if we just take that down, it lines up perfectly. So with this formula, what I'm doing is saying, if this cell E2 contains this content, give me the value that I've specified, this one right here. If it doesn't do that, check the next if statement. So if this fails, if it's not business, move on to the next one. And I could sort this a different way, and it would still work just fine. Let's say I want to sort by ID. Sort by ID, smallest to largest. Let's go ahead and, so you can see here, business is still 1. Let's run it this way, and you can see it still works. So that works pretty well. What I would not do, or you could do if you wanted to, is you could write the code so that it references these cells over here. I did it more for just reference, but you can reference these cells over here. So rather than writing the code that says if business, I could say if E2, and then one, and then I have to take out the 1 here. I could do that. The problem is when I copy it down, it's going to get all messy. So what you want to make sure that you do is put in the dollar signs next to the row number so that it stays there. And you can see it still works. All of these still reference. 5 is still political science. Let's look for business. Business is still 1, even though it's referencing this data over here. Now, if I delete this data, though, you can see that these don't work anymore because it was referencing this other side table. I only did this for my reference, so I could have my list of majors and then a reference number that I could put into my formula. Again, those are 2 ways that I would recommend doing it, and then from there you could take this data and use it in Stata or SPSS or doing additional work in Excel. So again, that's a formula for using formulas to kind of better understand or transfer qualitative data cell into a quantitative figure. We can do it one more time if you want to see it again. We can. Again, I like to have a list of what I'm actually looking at. You can see that we have 5, but I want to have graduate there. So we have our list of 5. We can write our formula again. In fact, we can actually probably just copy this one over and then adjust it if we want. Let's go ahead and actually just reference this. This will be fun. Don't want that changing. Okay, so let's go ahead and reference this table over here. So for B2, for this one here, change them all to this. Okay, so for C2, if it's equal to freshman, then give me 1. If it is equal to $P$3, or rather $P$4, give me $Q$4. It's equal to $P$5, give me $Q$5. And you can see as I do this, the cells will highlight which ones I'm referencing. So P6, don't forget my $sign. This Q_6. And finally, we have political science, which changes to graduate, which is $P$7 and $Q$7. So let's check, make sure I have all my $signs, make sure that cells aren't going to move. That looks good. And we have make sure we label all of our things. So now we have all of our grades rather than in qualitative into a string value. we use now a numeric value assigned to each grade via this formula. Okay, I'll go ahead and stop there and look forward to discussing in class next time.